Hi everyone and welcome along. So it's one of my favourite times of year. The sun is shining, Wimbledon is on the telly, and that must mean it's strawberry season. So we're going to paint a really gorgeous loose watercolour strawberry pattern because on this channel we love to paint nature and we love to paint it in all sorts of different ways, and I know that loose painting is something that a lot of us struggle a little bit with. So what a better topic than gorgeous delicious strawberries. And once you've painted it, if you are interested in learning how to digitize and then turn your paintings into digital artworks or surface patterns, repeatable patterns, then you can find out all about that on my Patreon, because we have tutorials perfect for that. And this just seems like an absolutely gorgeous kind of thing that I'd love to see on wallpaper, wrapping paper. So it's amazing what you can do with your watercolour paintings. But for now, grab your paints and let's get started. I don't know about you, but sometimes all I want to do with watercolour is just create a lovely page of lovely loose shapes and not think too much beyond that. So we're going to do a little loose watercolour page of strawberries. And the other thing is, I was noticing, obviously a lot of our strawberries are done and finished and lovely and red and juicy, but there are some still of the pale white versions that haven't been turned into ripe ones yet, and I just thought they were really gorgeous as well. So I'm going to include some of those in my pattern too. So I'm getting some lemon yellow and some buff titanium woken up, and then we need sap green and green gold as well. And I think we should get ourselves a fresh jar of water, because especially when you're painting loosely, it's just a really good idea to give yourself as much of a fighting chance of doing lovely fresh work. So I am going to just enjoy painting in loose watercolour shapes with, I've got a size 8 brush, a size 4, I've got my rigger brush. There is a chance I might want different brushes, but at this point I think I'm happy with that. I've got organic vermilion, alizarin crimson as well for my red tones. And I think all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a shape on a page, which is rather nice. And then I think I want very, very gentle strawberry shapes. I don't want anything too perfect. And the other thing I want to try and do is sort of capture a little bit of that feeling of the abundance of the strawberries in the strawberry patch. So buff titanium, when you've already got a little bit of red on your brush, is rather lovely, it's rather beautiful. Because of course Wimbledon is underway and I am a big tennis fan. It's no secret. So this is just a nice little celebration of the very, very expensive strawberries and cream. Okay, and now I'm going to just try and capture those. I think maybe a size 2 brush might be good. Okay, and I'm just going to sort of scribble a little sepal on top there, because you can see how they're just, they sort of sit up like that. Feels like a scribble will be just fine. Now the other thing, of course, we're going to have on our strawberries is there are the little blossoms, the little flowers that turn into the strawberries, and I think that might be quite nice to add as well. So I'm going to take a little bit of buff titanium, a bit of green gold, a tiny bit of Payne's grey to make a little flower, a little petal. And I'm just going to dot that in here and there. And then take a little strong dab of Hansa Yellow Medium. And slowly I'm just building up this shape. And then the last thing, of course, are the rather ginormous leaves. I don't want them to dominate quite so much, but I'm just going to scribble one in here and there, and then maybe a little bit of deep sap green. But you can see I'm really scribbling with the brush. I'm not wanting anything that's sort of perfect. I want character, and I want lovely sort of life from these pieces. So I'm just going to sort of build up the page and maybe sort of take some slightly darker green with the sap green. And then come back round to the strawberry. Let's see, maybe pop one in. And don't forget to sort of think about the size brush that works best for you. And also the order of which doing things works best as well, because obviously watercolour is going to dry, so we want to make sure that the colours, the right colours bleed into one another and the other ones stay separate from each other. So I'm just working my way down through the piece, sort of making little discoveries and thoughts along the way. One of them is to think about turning things upside down. It's always quite a nice way of getting a bit of variation in your piece. Also not forgetting about just sort of colour blending, bleeding a wet on wet into one another. And also what I really like is the little sort of pale yellow strawberries, and maybe a tiny bit of green in with those as well. This is such a good exercise if you are feeling like you like the loose style, but you're not quite sure how to paint it. Choosing something lovely and friendly like a strawberry is always a good idea, because it's the kind of thing that's quite a simple shape. Let's pop a few more flowers in there. I'm enjoying putting in the petals sort of on top of other little areas at times. And And then don't forget about the leaves as well, and the extra little sort of sepal-y bits. But I know a lot of us feel like loose watercolour painting is a bit of a mystery, I suppose. And to be honest, it is, even while you're painting it, you have to not think too much about what you're doing. But then also, I don't think that necessarily means that you should be rushing. I think you need to have a sense of sort of slow, calm, and then, like, I'm just about to do a little scribble and not go, oh gosh, well that's terrible. Just be like, yeah, I've done a scribble, that's all right. And then it means you can go back in. I mean, I think that's really, really nice. I like it a lot. I maybe could go back in and maybe find, if I want a bit more sort of, say, green gold in there, maybe it's a little green strawberry that hasn't quite sort of matured and ripened yet. So the other great thing with strawberries is, of course, we're using a complementary colour palette of pink and red with green. So it's going to look good, even if you feel like you're messing it up, which is great, isn't it? So I'm just going to let that dry, and then we'll come back and have a little look. So there is one thing more I want to do. I want to capture those seeds in some shape or form, and I think I fancy a little splatter. Not on every single one, but the way I splatter, I get quite a liquidy paint, and then I just sort of flick the brush down using my finger as a sort of barrier, and I really love that. I think it adds to the pattern of the piece, gives it a little bit more energy. And you might be thinking, but Harriet, the seeds aren't alizarin crimson colour. Yes, I know. And I want to enhance that colour. I want to bring out more of the red, but I was also thinking maybe we do a little bit of green gold too, but just not too much. Maybe on some of the paler strawberries, but you soon get a feel of what feels like enough or too much, and that feels like enough for me. So there is our little celebration of Wimbledon, strawberries and cream, and also just a lovely way of approaching the loose watercolour painting technique and building up a pattern on your page. I think that would look amazing as like wrapping paper, maybe even wallpaper, something like that. And if you would love to know how to digitize your work and turn it into things like repeat patterns, well, we have tutorials on that on Patreon on the Sweet Pea tier. So I highly recommend you head to the episode notes below, click on the join the Patreon link, and come along and enjoy that and 5 years worth of other exclusive watercolour tutorials, all from me. It's a wonderful community there. You'll get so much out of it. But in particular, learning how to both digitize your work and create a repeat pattern, it's all there on Patreon. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!